Hey, I'm Marcus, and family issues is a big part of my life. I'll begin at the beginning. I was born in North Carolina where my family lived. My brother and sister lived with their dad, so that was a big problem for me. Even though they lived with their dad, we were still close since they visited often. My dad got a job in Minnesota, so he wanted us to move there. After a while, I noticed that my brother and sister changed ever since I moved to Minnesota. My relationship with my siblings and me grew apart. Sometimes I consider myself the lucky child since I actually live with mom full time. I feel guilty about this sometimes. Over time, when me and my mom would visit my brother and sister, they changed so much. That's not the only thing that changed in our relationship. They started becoming more different. We grew apart. I thought they were the only ones who changed, but down the line, I realized that I changed too. So I think being separated for this long changed us a lot. They didn't have a mom, and I did. And this is a big issue in our country. Maybe not a big issue, but a pretty big issue. People being separated from their family by either divorce or other stuff like not having the money to visit families across the country. And also having your half brother and sister. Some people have, which they live with their other parent, and you live with your parent. Having a different dad or having a different mom. And you still want to have that bond between your family. And I think even though we can't really change a lot about this problem, I think we should at least help and support the people that actually suffer from this problem. But there's other issues about family issues, in which I'm going to go more into my life and explain through my own story. So here I go. After a while, when I grew up, I started to know some differences between me and my dad. We didn't quite look alike. Then I found out that he was my stepdad. I was so shocked at first. I was one, and my real dad left me. And then my stepdad came into the picture. He was the first father figure that I ever had. He raised me as his own, even though I wasn't. And I love him for that. I called him Dad, and I think he was my dad. And I really do. He was always there for me as a kid, and I always needed him to help me. We became close very quick. When I was a baby, he told me he wasn't going to leave my side, and he would always love me. And he would always love me no matter what. And he would always be there for me and my mom. I was not surprised, because I loved everybody. But when I realized, I was pretty shocked. But nothing really changed because all the bond we had and all the love he gave to me, I guess I really didn't really notice it. Because when I was a kid, I always called him Dad, and that's why I called him Dad today. Since we were close, I forgot, and I guess knowing this, I guess I loved him more for loving me. Because he could have lived with his real son, but yet he lived with me, and he supported me throughout different stuff in my life. And he's actually the guy, or the dad, that shaped me into the man I am today. And I always want to be like him. And there is some flaws about him, but I can't change it. But I know seeing those flaws and him showing me those flaws will make me grow up to be a better man than him today. But even though that is not true because he showed me so much stuff about stuff I wouldn't even know without him, I'm glad. And that's when people would ask me, is that my dad? I will gladly and most happily say yes, because he's been here for me. And this is a great issue with people sometimes, because sometimes you might not even know your real parents. Sometimes you might be adopted and you might want to know who your real parents are. And before you ask yourself that question, why don't you look back and look at the people who actually raised you? Look at the people that noticed you and wanted to be there for you. And tell yourself that that is your real family. Even though you're not be bonded by blood, such as me and my dad. But me and my dad, we are bonded by time and commitment to each other because he loved my mom and dad. Me and my mom. So, Even though we cannot change this stuff, I want you to help people that you know have family issues such as separation or adoption or other stuff like that, and help them accept that this is their life and they should love it, because family won't last forever. Because even though your family might not be here for you, but when you need them, they will always be there, giving you love, care, and other stuff. So I want you to know that if you know someone with this problem, you should help them accept it and support them. And it's a wonderful thing to do when you help and support people. Be more active in your community and be more active with your friends and family. And I'm glad to say that this is a great issue that can be helped. Goodbye.